please, gentle breeze, you remind me of days in my child.
Few could have predicted that a quiet teenager from Wigan would soon spark international speculation about a possible leap to one of America's biggest stages. In today's report, we begin by examining the early rise of singer Lucy Thomas, a name that has steadily gained traction across global music circles. Born and raised in Wigan, Lancashire, Thomas grew up in an environment where artistic expression was encouraged, but few could have imagined the trajectory that lay ahead of her. Her journey into the public eye began long before whispers of any high-profile performance opportunities emerged. As a young vocalist, she developed a reputation locally for her striking clarity and emotional range, the kind that instantly separates an amateur from a naturally gifted performer. According to publicly available interviews, Lucy started vocal training at an early age, supported by a family that recognized her potential, but remained cautious about the unpredictable world of entertainment. Her national introduction came in 2018, when she appeared on The Voice Kids UK at just 14 years old. It was here that audiences first encountered her signature sound, a controlled, mature tone reminiscent of adult classical crossover performers, delivered through the voice of someone barely in her teens. Although she did not win the competition, her presence left a lasting impression. Many young contestants move on quietly after their season ends, but Thomas did the opposite. Instead, the exposure served as a springboard, and soon after the show aired, she began cultivating a dedicated online presence. This early breakout provided a foundation for future opportunities and created a loyal community that would later become central to ongoing conversations about where her career might be heading. And as her visibility continued to grow, observers began asking a new question, one that would eventually ignite widespread speculation. Could this young performer be preparing for something far larger than anyone initially realized? What followed next was an online surge so rapid that analysts began reconsidering what a young classical crossover singer could achieve in the digital era. Following her national debut, Lucy Thomas transitioned from television contestant to full-fledged recording artist, and this shift proved crucial to her expanding public profile. She released a series of polished covers and original recordings that showcased a level of vocal discipline uncommon for singers her age. Her interpretation of emotional ballads and musical theater numbers resonated strongly with audiences, allowing her YouTube presence to grow into a major platform, one that consistently draws millions of views. What stands out is not only the volume of attention but the consistency of it. Viewers return repeatedly, and her comment sections often read like fan-driven forums, with discussions about her technique, her artistic choices, and her potential future direction. This digital success is where the early sparks of speculation began. Industry watchers noted that few classical-leaning performers, especially teenagers, managed such strong numbers without institutional backing or mainstream marketing pushes. As her channel expanded, so did the conversations around her next professional step. Could she be preparing for larger performance opportunities? Was she being positioned for a global debut? Some online discussions even floated the possibility of appearances on major American performance platforms, including competition programs known for launching international careers. While no confirmed reports ever indicated an official preparation for America's Got Talent, the online momentum alone became a catalyst for widespread theorizing among fans. This period of growth established Lucy as a serious contender in the landscape of young vocalists. Her command of challenging arrangements, combined with her disciplined recording style, led commentators to conclude that she was at an inflection point. Whether or not she was preparing for a major televised opportunity, one fact remained undeniable. She had captured enough attention for global audiences to start watching carefully. And as this growing audience followed her every upload, many believed that the real turning point in her career had only just begun. As her viewership grew, so did a surprising question. Was Lucy Thomas quietly gearing up for a performance leap that could redefine her trajectory? With the increasing online attention came a wave of public curiosity regarding what might come next. Although Lucy Thomas herself has not made any official statements about preparing for America's Got Talent or any similar U.S. platform, discussions thrived across fan groups, comment threads, and music review sites. When a young artist gains international reach at such a pace, it is understandable that audiences begin to imagine possibilities that extend far beyond traditional routes. As a result, stories emerged suggesting that Thomas may have been receiving coaching, expanding her repertoire, or shaping her performance style in ways that resemble preparation for high-visibility stages. Industry analysts note that preparation for major televised competitions typically involves a combination of vocal refinement, stage presence development, and emotional grounding to handle the pressures of global exposure. Observers pointed out that Thomas's work during this period, judging solely from her public content, showed increased precision, confidence, and artistic maturity. Some fans interpreted these developments as signs of a strategic evolution rather than simple artistic growth. However, it is essential to clarify that no official confirmation ever supported these assumptions, and all such interpretations remained firmly in the realm of audience speculation. Still, the theory persisted in online circles. Viewers pointed to her increasingly cinematic music videos, collaborations with experienced producers, and a tone of performance that aligned with what one might expect from someone preparing for high-stakes auditions. Even without evidence, speculation thrives when an artist's progression appears deliberate and accelerated. And as these conversations continued, they created a narrative of momentum, one that framed Thomas as a young performer standing on the edge of a potentially transformative moment, regardless of whether that moment involved AGT or something altogether different. Observers began noticing something else. Lucy Thomas wasn't just improving, she appeared to be evolving with striking precision. Behind every polished performance lies countless hours of unseen labor, and in Lucy Thomas's case, this behind-the-scenes work became a subject of fascination among dedicated followers. Although there is no concrete evidence that she was preparing for any particular show, fans speculated that her disciplined release schedule and increasingly complex arrangements signaled a deeper level of training. Vocal experts analyzing her videos noted improvements in breath control, tonal stability, and emotional interpretation, markers often associated with intensive coaching routines. It is common for young artists to face both physical and psychological challenges as they refine their craft. While no verified reports detail specific setbacks, it is reasonable to assume that the typical hurdles of adolescence and professional pressure may have intersected. Students balancing academics, recording sessions, and a growing public platform often experience moments of exhaustion or self-doubt. As such, viewers who follow Thomas closely often discuss these universal challenges, framing them within the natural demands of her rapid career development. Her apparent dedication was evident in her consistency. She continued releasing high-quality content, maintained vocal polish, and demonstrated an expanding emotional palette in her performances. To fans, these subtle shifts created the impression of someone undergoing rigorous professional refinement. Still, it is vital to reiterate, there are no confirmed reports of any AGT-specific preparation. Instead, what existed was the public's interpretation of her growth, shaped by the patterns typically associated with artists gearing up for major opportunities. And as this evaluation deepened, online discussions shifted toward the question of how her ongoing development might translate to a broader stage. What audiences saw on YouTube was impressive. What they believed it could lead to was even bigger. Lucy Thomas's performances continued to generate wide engagement across social platforms. Her viewership regularly extended beyond casual listeners into communities that specialize in vocal analysis, classical crossover appreciation, and rising artist commentary. Publications and music blogs began highlighting her as one of the emerging young vocalists to watch, and the broader industry took note of her sustained online footprint. When artists consistently produce resonant content at a young age, their work often circulates far beyond their initial fanbase, creating a feedback loop of attention. Thomas's case was no exception. Judging by online reactions alone, viewers perceived her as an artist with both potential and poise. Her ability to deliver emotionally grounded performances drew comparisons to established vocalists in adult categories, a rare achievement for someone still early in her career. This public response helped fuel the ongoing conversation about what direction she might take next. Some fans suggested she might transition into musical theater, citing her tone and phrasing. Others predicted her interest in international competition shows, which historically launch young artists into mainstream visibility. However, professionals familiar with the industry stress that such transitions require careful planning, contractual clarity, and emotional readiness, factors not always visible from the outside. Without confirmed announcements from Thomas or her team, discussions remained speculative. But speculation, when widespread and sustained, carries its own kind of significance. It shapes how the public interprets an artist's current work and influences expectations about their future endeavors. Whether these expectations align with the artist's actual plans is another matter entirely. As the dialogue expanded, one thing became clear. Lucy Thomas was no longer just a rising singer. She was a subject of international curiosity. With speculation growing louder, analysts began asking a final question: where does Lucy Thomas go from here? As we assess Lucy Thomas's current trajectory, it is evident that her career continues to build steadily. Recent public performances, including her live appearances and concert engagements, have demonstrated increasing confidence and artistry. Analysts suggest that her next steps could involve expanding her presence in live theater, releasing additional original work, or pursuing larger performance venues. These possibilities align with the natural progression of a young artist whose foundation is already firmly established. The speculation surrounding a potential move toward American platforms, such as AGT, remains, at best, a reflection of fan enthusiasm rather than confirmed strategy. In the absence of announcements from Thomas herself, the safest and most accurate characterization is that her career remains open to numerous pathways. Observers note that her consistent vocal discipline, expanding audience reach, and broad stylistic versatility position her well for future opportunities, regardless of the format they take. As her public presence continues to grow, so does her influence. When an artist achieves this level of attention at such a young age, the conversation inevitably becomes forward-looking. Fans wonder about the timing of her next album, her possibilities for global touring, and the likelihood of larger-scale collaborations. These questions speak to the strength of her connection with her audience and the widespread interest in her artistic evolution. While the discussions about AGT served as a catalyst for heightened attention, Lucy Thomas's potential extends far beyond any single platform. The real story may not be whether she appears on a particular stage, but how her voice continues to develop and resonate with listeners worldwide. As of now, one conclusion stands out. Her journey is still unfolding, and the world is watching closely.